Well, hey friends, I'm Micah, and this is the Homestead Bandwagon. Well, today I'm out here with the tractor. This is the LS Tractor MT342. We've had this thing for about a year. I just finished doing an oil change on it, and so I figured, hey, it's a great idea to do like a 350 hour or 1 year update on the tractor and tell you how it's been treating us. First thing I'm gonna do is let's get a couple complaints out of the way. I just changed the oil on this thing, and somebody, I don't know who it was, just had a dastardly placement of the oil filter on this thing, and I'll show you what I mean here. I don't know if they were having a fight with their spouse. I don't know what was going on, but the placement of this oil filter is crazy, and I've talked about it in another video, but it bears repeating because every time I change oil on this thing, I get really annoyed with it again. So let me show you that. So here's where the oil filter goes. So what we have is the loader frame, some hoses, some hard hoses, and a bunch of other stuff here. And when the oil comes out, it just leaks over everything. There's, you can't see it here, but there's even more stuff here. This is some electrical. So normally, this is a filter that comes from the factory. I mean, it's just it's rubbing right against these hoses when you try to take it out. So that's the original OEM filter. This appears to be the replacement. This is part number 403-18591. It appears to be okay for this machine, and it fits in here way easier. So first we got to get a little oil on it. And just a little snug with the wrench, because my hands are a mess. That should be tight enough. So that one, a lot more clearance on this hose, a lot more clearance everywhere. So that is number 403-18591, replacing this short fat one. It appears to be the right filter. I think it's the replacement. So there is one thing I'm not in love with, but hey, easy fix. Get a thinner, longer filter. Okay, so next thing, let's open the hood here. Where's the button? It's here somewhere. If you notice, my hood hits the brush guard here because I was loading stuff into a big dumpster, and I must have just pushed this thing a little bit too hard against the dumpster. I didn't lose really any paint, but I did bend it, so now it gets in the way of the hood. So eventually I'm going to break these hood hinges. Let's start at the front here. I'll get to the other side with you. So you really want to make sure you're unscrewing this screen. Takes a minute, hold on. Especially doing it one-handed, the sacrifices I make for these videos. So you want to make sure you unscrew these screens and pull this thing out and clean it. Just got to remember to lift your loader when you're doing it, and it'll hit your tire. So you got to turn the tire to the side when you're taking that screen out. But clean that a lot. I get people all the time calling me up asking why the tractor's overheating, and that's because they don't clean the radiator screen or their radiator. They're surprised that you have to do it, because, you know, if you don't have to do it in your car, why would you do it on a tractor? Which I hear a lot. Tractors and cars are very different. Your tractor, you're going to have to do some maintenance too. You know, you're going to have to fix yourself sometimes. You're going to have to clean stuff. You can't just drive them around and they'll be trouble-free all the time and give you a cute little picture on the dashboard when you need to change the oil. Don't wait for that. Hold on here, I got to get this screen back in. Anyways, yeah, clean out your radiator screen constantly. You know, pop open your air filter, clean out your air filter often, especially during the summer. Things will get hot. if you really want a good trick, there's this tool called a Radiator Genie that helps you get into all your nooks and crannies. So you hook it up to your air compressor, which is a tool you got to have if you got a tractor. Get an air compressor. You know, you can spray out stuff. You can use it to use air tools. You're always going to have flat tires on your mower anyway, so it helps you with that. So yeah, air compressor with the Radiator Genie really helps. Instead of having the little hose that just barely fits, you got a long thing that kind of has a bent tip on it that really directs the air through all these little guys. I mean, look at all these nooks and crannies. Here, hold on. A couple little radiators in here, and these will just get caked with stuff. So if you can get those cleaned out, that's great. There's not a ton of room to move. This air filter I've talked about before, these two clips are easy. This one under here is impossible to get to. I don't love that. So that's that though. Yeah, just make sure when you lift your loader, you're also going to turn your wheel to take out your screen. Just small annoyances, whatever. Okay, one other little complaint here. Are you ready? So here's our little baby turbo. Hey buddy. So look at this. I'm gonna see if I can get in here. See this belt? You're supposed to check this belt every 50 hours. It's got okay tension, but I was thinking I'd tighten it up, right? So what do? There's a bolt back here to loosen, and then you normally would wedge like a crowbar in here and like tension this thing while tightening the bolt. Well, the bolt is behind this guy, connected to the turbo. You can't really get your pry bar in there anywhere, so I don't know how I'm going to do this. So if anybody has one of these tractors and they've tightened this belt up, which is something you're supposed to be doing every 50 hours, let me know. I've gotten away with it. You know, you're supposed to check it and it's fine on tension, but I just had a customer whose tractor, the battery wouldn't charge, and it was a mystery to us. We couldn't figure it out. And it's because that belt got loose and, you know, the alternator wasn't doing its job. Let's see, on the back of the tractor, I'm trying to think of any problems I've had. You know, we already know that if you watch the previous video that I had a little hose under the seat here that got a little hole in it, and it shot hydraulic fluid out whenever you use the PTO. That's been fixed. But, and this is something you got to check all the time. See these bolts here? 1, 2, there's like a third one in there. I was driving around with the box blade on here and I had it hooked up here, and I felt it thunk over to the side really hard. Okay, I broke something, and I thought that I'd broken these sway chains, right? Because they're custom made at their factory. So there's welds here, there's welds here, and I've got I've had a couple of people break these, and I don't know how. I mean, they're pretty strong. But I felt a big thunk, and I thought I finally broke one of these because I was using the box blade in reverse. And it turns out that these bolts, these little gold colored bolts, had backed themselves out. So again, you'll get out there and check your bolts constantly, because that could have been a real problem. If one of those bolts had sheared off, that thing's going through the rear end, I might have had a ton of problems. It's not a complaint, it's just something to look at. And then I've got some magnetic mirrors up here we've added. I've got some lights. Did a horrible wiring job on this thing. It's not as bad as it looks. I just used lots of electrical tape. The headlights on these tractors are worthless if you have the loader on. The loader just gets in the way and blocks the lights. So you got to put on extra lights. I put 2 of these on here. So these are a Spare X LED light. It says it has noise suppression, and it's 1150 lumens. So, what, 2000 lumens, 2250 lumens, so 2000 lumens, whatever. It's okay for working in the field. I would like double that. So, something to think about. I've got them on the back too. I just haven't even hooked them up. And I also bent recently this guy. I caught it on a tree. So, okay, that's where we're at 350 hours. How do we actually like the tractor? I'll tell you right now, this tractor is great. It's held up to a lot of use. We use these forks all the time. Just did a video, you know, because we wanted this thing for its loader lift capacity, and just did a video seeing how much this thing would really lift, and it lifts to its capacity and beyond. I mean, for the price you pay for one of these guys, to get that amount of lifting capacity, it's amazing. We've been tilling with it a lot. This thing turns a 72-inch tiller no problem. I didn't really know how to work a tiller. I just dumped it in the ground and ran, and it worked. Then I found out later you're supposed to like open the back flap when you're breaking new ground. I don't know, I just put it in the ground and ran. It did great. So tons of power. Even though this is like a 42 horse tractor, it's weird. It seems to have power to spare, you know, with bigger implements that are difficult to spin. We've been running a brush cutter with this thing, an LS Tractor brush cutter. It's been awesome. Been using the backhoe. The backhoe's been holding up great. So we haven't really had any problems, just minor, you know, annoyances. So that's all been working great. I will say it's a large, heavy tractor that's, you know, 40 horse. So not a ton of power compared to the size. So it's not in a big hurry. You know, high range is practically useless on this tractor. I'll drive down the road to go do a job, and on flat roads it does fine, but as soon as you get just a slight slope, all of a sudden it's dogging out. So we're always using medium and low range on this. It's not in a hurry. And speaking of medium and low range, you know, even medium range, when you get up on hills, the tractor starts lugging even with the RPMs up. So I was doing this loader work where I was moving stuff from one place to another, back and forth, and going up a hill. And I was tired of moving in low range because it's so slow. So I put it in medium, and I was kind of lugging on these hills, but I was making it. And regen mode on these tractors, everybody's always freaked out about regen mode. It was going about 30 hours, every 30 hours like clockwork. All of a sudden it's regenning every 10 hours or less because I was lugging that engine down and I think not burning fuel efficiently. So that's something to think about if you have your regen going off a lot. Make sure you're keeping your RPMs up, make sure you're keeping the engine hot, and make sure you're not lugging the engine. And you can hear it when it goes from brrr to brrr. You'll hear it when you're lugging the engine. So be careful of that. But it's just slow. It's not a fast tractor. That's fine. And then the loader on this guy, a little slow too. I've been, you know, I get to interact with a lot of tractors in my job working at a tractor shop, and this is not the fastest loader in the world. It's a little slow, you know, which it's not terribly slow, but I'd say it's like 5, maybe 10% slower than other tractors that I've experienced. And this is just anecdotal because I don't have the evidence for it. But, you know, you divide that over like 1,000 loader lifts, and it takes a little extra time. And then running 2 functions at once, like lifting while you're curling or lifting while you're dumping, is a little slow. And that's just the nature of the beast with compact tractors. I've heard some are faster at doing it. I don't know, man. It's just lift, curl, and then lift. It's faster. And what else with the loader? That's about it. It's been a strong little loader, strong PTO, strong tractor. It's just not in a hurry to get out of its own way. And aside from just a couple of design annoyances, which happens with any machine, we've been really, really happy. So there we go. We're about a year in. We're at about 350. Actually, I think we're at 360 hours. Just did the 3rd oil change. It seems to be driving not burning oil. I maybe went through a quart in the last 150 hours. You know, the owner's manual says 300 hours between oil changes, and every 50 you check. We're changing it every 150 hours. Next update, we'll probably do a full hydraulic filter change and oil change just to show how that does. Other than that, as long as you keep this thing greased, keep fuel in it, and you know, treat it nicely, they seem to hold up okay. I've seen people break stuff on these tractors. They bring them into the shop. I don't know how. I mean, I've done some seriously dumb things on accident with this machine and not broken anything, including, you know, running my Mox blade in reverse and slamming into stuff, and nothing's getting broken. So that's about it. Thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll keep updating you. And of course, we're doing all sorts of fun, genuine farmer stuff here. I've even got a new merch shop that we'll be showing you some stuff from pretty soon. Boy, really moving up in the world. All right, have a great one. See ya.